Welcome to fable number 2. The fable we're going to read today is called The Young Rooster by Arnold Lobel. And I'm going to remind you that fables are stories that teach important lessons or messages about life. So hopefully, after listening to this story yesterday, hopefully the lesson you learned could have been that you should trust your own thinking, because Madame Rhinoceros knew that the dress looked silly on her, but then she let the salesperson talk her out of it and convince her that it looked good. You could also think of the lesson this way, that sometimes you shouldn't always believe people because they're trying to sell you something. So the salesperson told Madame Rhinoceros something that wasn't true only so she would buy the dress. And the lesson it had at the bottom of the story told us, nothing is harder to resist than a bit of flattery. So she knew, or she didn't think the dress looked good on her, but the salesperson was giving her compliments. So it was hard to resist and hard to say no when the salesperson was telling her that it looked so good. All right, so follow along as I read to you The Young Rooster today. A young rooster was summoned to his father's bedside, and summoned means called. So the young rooster was called to his father's bedside. "Son, my time has come to an end," said the aged bird. Aged means old. "Now it is your turn to crow up the morning sun each day." The young rooster watched sadly as his father's life slipped away. Early the next morning, the young rooster flew up to the roof of the barn. He stood there, facing the east. "I have never done this before," said the rooster. "I must try my best." He lifted his head and crowed. A weak and scratchy croak was the only sound he was able to make. The sun did not come up. Clouds covered the sky, and a damp drizzle fell all day. All of the animals on the farm came to the rooster. "This is a disaster!" cried a pig. "We need our sunshine!" shouted a sheep. "Rooster, you must crow much louder," said a bull. "The sun is 93 million miles away. How do you expect it to hear you?" Very early the next morning, the young rooster flew up to the roof of the barn again. He took a deep breath. He threw back his head and crowed. It was the loudest crow that was ever crowed since the beginning of roosters. The animals on the farm were awakened from their sleep with a start. "What a noise!" cried the pig. "My ears hurt!" shouted the sheep. "My head is splitting!" said the bull. "I am sorry," said the rooster, "but I was only doing my job." He said this with a great deal of pride, for he saw far to the east the tip of the morning sun coming up over the trees. A first failure may prepare the way for later success.